Hi, Assalamualaikum and greetings to all. Ladies and gentlemen, as you can see on your screen, this is our revision Padlet. So basically we're going to look at what we have learned from week 1 until week 12 basically. So let's start inshallah. So first thing first, we actually talk about or we explore approaches to study religions. So basically here there are 3 approaches to study religion. The first one is criticizing. So this is where we actually point to weaknesses in practices and never the belief system or the concepts. And second, upholding. This is what we have been using for our studies of 5 major religions. So upholding is where we actually study elements or components or aspects of religions by putting them into a framework. So for our framework, we are looking at the history, we are looking at the belief system, we are also looking at the principles, and last but not least, we are looking at the values. And last but not least, the third approach to study religion is disaggregating, and this is where we use scholars' points of views in order for us to understand the religions that we are about to study. So always remember, these are the 3 approaches to study religions: criticizing, upholding, and disaggregating. So when you talk about studying religions, as we said just now, we are using upholding. So let's have a look at all the religions that we have studied so far, 5 main religions, and we are going to start with Hinduism. So it is this one here. So Hinduism. So basically the history of Hinduism. We talk about how the Vedas, collection of scriptures or good practices. And then we have the where, which is India. And then we have the when, that is the oldest religion in the world. And then we have the who, no one single founder. So ladies and gentlemen, this is the history of Hinduism. And then we look at the belief systems. Now always remember, for the belief system here, you really have to follow the sequence. So first, Atman, that is the inner soul. And then we have a Dharma, responsibilities or duties that the believer has to perform or has to do. And then we have karma. So this is the effects of your actions, basically the law of cause and effect. And last but not least, moksha. So this is the last stage. This is enlightenment. So all Hindus will try to achieve moksha. So belief systems here. And then we look at the principles. So there are 6 principles, or there are 6 modern practices for Hindus today. First, truth is always eternal. Brahman is truth and reality. Third, the Vedas are the ultimate authority. And this is actually very, very important, simply because the Vedas, basically all books of sacred books, all holy books, they are the guide to all believers. So based on the religions, so for Hindus, that's the Vedas. So the Vedas are the ultimate authority. And then we look at everyone should strive to achieve Dharma. That means all Hindus must try to perform their duties. And number 5, individual souls are immortal. So we're talking about the souls, not the body. Simply because in Hinduism, all believers, they believe in reincarnation. And last but not least, for the principle, the goal of all individual souls is moksha. So at the end of the day, all Hindus will try to achieve enlightenment in their life. And let's talk about the values. So Hindus believe in the Vedas, of course, that's number 1. Number 2, Hindus believe that the universe has an endless cycles of creation. So this is reincarnation. Remember, ladies and gentlemen, the body dies, but never the soul, until the soul reaches moksha. Next, continuing from the second one, Hindus believe that the universe has an endless cycles of creation, preservation, and dissolution. Third, Hindus believe in karma, the law of cause and effect. So if today you are doing something bad, that means maybe tomorrow or maybe in your next life, you will receive the effect. Number 4, Hindus believe in reincarnation depending on the quality of the previous life. And last but not least, for the value in Hinduism, Hindus believe that all life is sacred, to be loved and to be revered. So, ladies and gentlemen, we have actually managed to look at Hinduism from the perspective or from the framework of history, belief system, principles and values. Now, a little bit more about the religion, Hinduism. So this is what we call as the caste system for Hinduism. This is the social structure, not the religious structure. So for the social structure, there's a lot of influence that actually played in terms of the structure itself. So there are sometimes 4 and sometimes 5 levels. So if we look here very carefully, we can see that. So first level would be the Brahmin. This is the highest level. The priests, basically, the academics, mostly the priests, because those days only the priests were given the privilege to go and study. And then we have the Kshatriya, warriors and the kings. So in the past, if you're very, very strong, then you become the king. So that's why we have warriors as well as kings. The third level is actually Vaishya, the merchants or the landowners. And we have also the fourth level would be Sudra, commoners, peasants or servants. And last but not least, so this is the 5 levels, yeah, untouchables. So the outcasts, the street sweepers, for example, those who actually clean up after a lot of things and all. So basically, ladies and gentlemen, if let's say you were born here, you wouldn't be able to climb anywhere here. So this is, once again, the social structure, but very much has influenced, had and has still influenced the life of Hindus in India especially. Okay, now we have completed the first religion, the oldest religion. Now let's have a look at Buddhism. So if we look at Buddhism, so we have the history here, how scriptures, collection of scriptures, where it's similar to Hinduism, India, when the second oldest religion or after Hinduism, and who? Siddhartha Gautama, or also known as Buddha. And then we have the belief systems, and once again, ladies and gentlemen, you must follow this order. So they are in sequence, this sequence. So first is Sila. Sila is the virtue, moral conduct, and there are 2 sub-principles under Sila. The first one is equality and the second one is reciprocity. So basically for Buddhists, they have this mutual respect between and amongst each other. So that is reciprocity, and then equality means that if you do this, you must also treat others to do the same thing. So equality, the principle of equality. The second layer or the second sequence, Samadhi. So this is mental development. So in order for you to have moral conduct, you must be able to have a very good and sound mental development. And then only you will go to the third or the last sequence, Prajna, which is wisdom. So 3 levels or sequence of this belief system for Buddhism. We have Sila with 2 sub-principles, equality and reciprocity. and then samadhi, second, mental development, and third, prajna or wisdom. So what about the principles? So very straightforward. We have 5 here. Number 1, do not lie, and then do not kill, do not steal, do not drink alcohol irresponsibly, or do not drink something that can harm your life. And the last one, do not engage in irresponsible sexual misconducts. So very straightforward, the principles, 5 of them. And last but not least would be the values of all Buddhists. So the values, they are, or I would say, given a name as a set of values. The name is the Four Noble Truths. So basically, we have 4, and once again, this is also in order. The first one, the truth of suffering, old age, sickness, and death. So that's number 1. The second value is the truth of the origin of the suffering. And this truth can come in 3 paths: greed and desire, ignorance and delusion, as well as hatred and destruction. The third one, the third value, the truth of the end of suffering. So basically, this will be something that will liberate you from the worldly attachment, from desiring to have worldly materials. And last but not least, the truth of the path to end of the suffering. And this is the Eightfold Path. So once again, ladies and gentlemen, for Buddhism, the history, belief systems, the principles, and the values, very importantly, to actually understand the arrangement of the belief systems as well as the values, because they are in order. Unlike the principles here, they can be arranged or explained randomly. But for belief systems and values, they must be explained in order. And for Hinduism, can we go back to Hinduism? Only for the belief systems that you have to explain or arrange according to the sequence. For the rest, it's okay. Still acceptable for you to explain, let's say for values, number 6 first or number 5 first. But only for belief system in order. For Buddhism, belief system and the values, which are the Four Noble Truths. All right. So the third religion. So we have here Judaism. So basically, if we talk about the history, the how, Torah, and where, Jerusalem. When, 4,000 years ago, or you can simply say the third oldest religion in the world. And the who, Moses. So belief systems, just one God. Straightforward, one single God. Now, if you look at the principles, there are 13 of them. 13 principles altogether. Don't worry, ladies and gentlemen, I will be sharing this Padlet in the PDF form after this. So don't worry. So I will share this. 13 principles for the Jewish people, for Judaism. The first one, the belief in the existence of the Creator. Next, the belief in God's absolute and unparalleled unity. Third, the belief in God's non-corporeality, and God will not be affected by any physical occurrences. Next, the belief in God's eternity. Number 5, the imperative to worship God exclusively and no foreign false gods. Number 6, the belief that God communicates with men through prophecy. 7, the belief in the primacy of the prophecy of Moses. Next, number 8, the belief in the divine origin of the Torah. That is the how, the sacred book for Judaism. Number 9, the belief in the immutability of the Torah. Number 10, the belief in God's omniscience and providence. Number 11, the belief in divine reward and retribution. Number 12, the belief in the arrival of the Messiah and the Messianic era. And last but not least, number 13, the belief in the resurrection of the dead. So, if we look at these principles for Judaism, from number 1 until number 6, it's all about the one God, the one single God. So 1 until 6. And then we have number 10 as well, about God. And then we have the rest is actually about, let's say number 7, primacy of the prophecy. It's about the who, about Moses. And then we have number 13, the belief in the resurrection of the dead. That means for Judaism, once they died, they will be resurrected one day. So they believe in the resurrection of the dead. So that means that there will be one day that everybody will be resurrected. So 13 principles altogether. So let's have a look at the values we have here down below. We have 8 values, and if you look very carefully at the values, you will be able to understand why Jewish people, the majority of them, they are very close-knitted. They are very, respecting of the elderly. And what is happening in Gaza now? Partly because of these values, if you look at it very, very carefully. So number 1, it is the Jewish inheritance and responsibility to repair the broken world. So for Jewish people, they look at the world as if the world belongs to them. So if, let's say, there's something that needs to be repaired, it is their responsibility. So because of this value, you can see from the actions of those people who feel that they are responsible to do good things, or to promote kindness or goodness on this earth. So we have that as one of the values. In fact, the first values. For the values here, it's not in order. So you can actually explain in whatever sequence or arrangement. Number 2, for the value, the Jewish memory must be long. If you look at the situation now, you can see that a lot of Jewish people, they are very brilliant. We can say that they are very excellent in a lot of things that they do, and partly because of this, they always feel that because of their history, their ancestors were being oppressed, and because of that, they feel that they need to become very, very brilliant, or they feel that they must be able to defend themselves, and by defending themselves, they must be brilliant or excellent. So that is why they have this as one of the values. Long memory. Number 3, for the value, the Jewish destiny is bound together with all people. As I have mentioned earlier, they see the world as their responsibility. So because of that, they believe that their destiny bound with all people. Number 4, the work must be intergenerational. That means from one generation to the other, there are connections, there are relations. So whatever that they are doing now will be related to the future and also related from the past. Number 5, the Jewish must work collectively. If you still remember, I mentioned something about them being close-knitted among family members and all. So yeah, they work together collectively. For them, they believe that that's very, very important. Number 6, social change requires the Jewish to be powerful. So once again, this is actually related to the fact that they see the world, if the world is broken, it's their responsibility to mend or to repair the world. So number 6 and number 5 actually come hand in hand. Next, number 7, real social change is a transformative experience. So it's not just a mere or a normal experience, it is a transformative one. That means transformative is something that brings betterment or better things or goodness, more effective things. So they see social change as a transformative experience. And last but not least, the Jewish must do the work with the fundamental hope, optimism, as well as gratitude. So whatever that they do, they will do it with this hope, optimism, as well as gratitude. I think that the fact that they feel that they must have hope is because they want to repair the broken world. And as to optimism, of course there are challenges if they want to do something, so they have to be optimistic. And gratitude means the fact that they will always remember what happened to their ancestors. The ancestors, according to history, were oppressed. So now they are living their life, so they must have this gratitude inside them. Okay? All right, ladies and gentlemen, other aspects of Judaism. So if you talk about the colors, white and blue, this is actually reflected on their flag. And if you talk about symbols, you have Chai. Chai means life. And then we have Hamsa, as well as David Star. David Star is actually the symbol that is on their flag. So that is David Star. So we have completed 3 major religions. Now let's move on to Christianity. So let us see. Okay, Christianity. So we have history, how, Bible, where, Jerusalem, and then we have when, 2000 years ago, or simply the 4th oldest religion in the world, who, Jesus. So let's have a look at the belief systems. Once again, I would like to reiterate, I would like to recap that there's only one God in Christianity, but there's 3 aspects or components of it. That's why it is called Trinity, because there's 3 components, but just one God, not 3 different gods. So we have the Father, the Son, and the Holy Spirit. So the Father actually refers to God, the Son refers to Jesus, and Holy Spirit is the fact that whatever that Christians do in their life, there will always be God looking and protecting them. So that is Holy Spirit. Holy Spirit is, of course, something that you cannot see or the believers cannot see, but it is there. It is there in the everyday lives of a Christian. 10 principles coming from the Bible, which is named or called the 10 Commandments. So 10 Commandments. The first one, I am the Lord thy God. Thou shalt not have strange gods before me. Meaning to say, there's only one God. There's only one God. Number 2, thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain. Number 3, remember to keep holy the Lord's day. Number 4, honor your or thy, meaning your, thy father and thy mother. Number 5, thou shalt not kill. Thou means you. Number 6, thou shalt not commit adultery. Number 7, thou shalt not steal. Number 8, thou shalt not bear, not bear, bear, bear false witness against thy neighbor. So this is actually telling lies, or let's say there's a case next door, and then you say something which is not true. So basically you are lying. So thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Number 9, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife. Do not go to your neighbor's house and try to tickle the wife. Last but not least, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's goods. Meaning to say, you cannot steal your neighbor's items or properties. So if you look at the 10 commandments for Christianity, you will realize that there's a lot of relations between one believer to the neighbors. So basically, if you look at number 5, also is about other people surrounding the Christians, and then adultery about people as well. Of course, you cannot steal from other people. You cannot talk lies or tell lies about other people as well, especially your neighbors. The focus here is on the neighbors, number 9, as well as number 10 about neighbors. From number 1 until number 3 about God, and then about your parents. So basically, that's the 10 commandments from the Bible. Now, some of the interpretation or some of the Bibles, they have different arrangement in terms of the principles. So for us, ladies and gentlemen, we are following this, okay? Because for the Bibles, since we have different denominations or major groupings, so some of them, they give focus on a little bit of variation from what we have here. So we are following these 10 commandments. Last but not least, for the values, very straightforward, and this can be arranged at random for the values. But for the principles, they are in order. For principles for Christianity, 1 until 10 must be in order, arranged according to this order. And for the values, you can just do it at random. So the first one, for the values, it's not at random. For principles and for the values of Christianity, they are in order. I'm so sorry, my mistake. So for the values, first must always be God, second, hope, third, righteousness, and for love. Now, ladies and gentlemen, for the love, it's not only love for your husband or for your boyfriend, it's love for your parents, for your siblings, for the people around you, and of course for your children, for your spouse and everything. So that's that, ladies and gentlemen, for Christianity. Now, let's go a little bit on the major groupings for Christianity. So we have here 5 major groupings, basically. So we have Roman Catholic, the origin, Western Roman Empire. It is at St. Petersburg. So this is, St. Peter. St. Peter is actually the church. So this is in the Vatican City. St. Peter, and this is the oldest grouping. Roman Catholic, origin, Western Roman Empire. The place itself, Vatican City. You can just say Vatican City, or very specifically St. Peter Church, and this is the oldest grouping. And then we have the Orthodox, Eastern Roman Empire. This is the origin, and the person is actually Michael Cerularius. For Roman Catholic, the person is the Pope. The leader is the Pope, because it is in the Vatican City. So for the Orthodox, the leader is Michael Cerularius. Number 3, Protestant. So Protestant is actually from Germany, and the leader Martin Luther. And then we have Anglican. Anglican originated from England, And the person who actually started this, King Henry, it's actually King Henry the Eighth. King Henry the Eighth. Yeah. So don't forget to write it. King Henry the Eighth. And last but not least, Methodist. So Methodist, it is from England, the origin from England, and the leader is John Wesley. John Wesley. So 5 major groupings for Christianity, and I think I've mentioned this in one of our sessions. In Malaysia, we have Roman Catholic, the majority Roman Catholic, and then we have Methodist in Malaysia. We don't have Orthodox, we don't have Protestant, we don't have Anglican in Malaysia. Alright? Okay. The last major religion, Islam. So, how are you doing now after listening? You can actually pause one religion to the other, just to understand better, or just to recap and relax a little bit. You can do that, because that's why we have this recording, not a problem. So Islam. So let's have a look at Islam history. So if you're talking about how, it is always Al-Quran. So Al-Quran is the how, where, Mecca and Madinah. And then we have the when, started in the 7th century, or you can simply say the last major religion. And who? Muhammad, or Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam. Belief systems. Now we have 2 sets of belief systems in Islam, and they are all must be explained in order, in the sequence as presented on your screen. So the first set of the belief system for Islam, 5 pillars of Islam, or Rukun Islam. First is Shahada. Shahada. Shahada is your promise towards Allah, or to Allah, about your belief to Allah and to Prophet Muhammad. So your promise, some sort of your promise. Second, Salah. This is where you pray 5 times a day. So these are 5 compulsory prayers a day for Muslims. And then fasting. Fasting in Ramadan, just for 1 month. Sometimes 30 days, sometimes 29 days. And then zakat. Zakat is where it is compulsory for those who have enough, what we call as properties or salaries. Now, zakat will actually purify your properties or whatever that you have in you. So zakat is compulsory for those who have completed, or for those who have enough or sufficient for themselves. Zakat, remember, zakat is different from sadaqah or donation. So remember, zakat is to purify whatever properties that you have. And last but not least, performing Hajj. Now, once again, for performing Hajj, for those who have enough or sufficient. So it's not compulsory for all to perform Hajj. If you have good health, if you have enough financial support while you are performing Hajj, and for those who you actually left behind while you are performing Hajj, then it is compulsory for you to do number 5. So there's 2 provisions, there's 2 conditions: your health as well as financial support. The second set of the belief system, 6 pillars of Islam. 6 pillars of Islam, or Rukun Iman. So we have 6, as the name suggested, 6 pillars. The first, the belief in Allah, the belief in Malaikat, the belief in Al-Quran and Hadith, the belief in prophets, the belief in the Judgment Day, and the belief in Qada and Qadar. So 6 pillars of Islam. So we have explained 2 belief systems, 2 sets of belief systems, 5 pillars of Islam and 6 pillars of Islam. Okay, now let's have a look at the principles. The name of the principles, articles of faith. Now, sometimes 6 pillars of Islam is also mentioned or labeled as 6 pillars of faith. So don't confuse 6 pillars of faith with articles of faith. 6 pillars of faith or 6 pillars of Islam or Rukun Islam. Oh, I'm so sorry, this is not Rukun Islam. This is actually Rukun Iman. So let me actually correct them here. Astaghfirullahalazim. I'm so sorry for that. So we have here 6 pillars of Iman. Oh, no. We call it 6 pillars of Islam actually. But maybe I can add something like this. 6 pillars. Oops. Pillars of faith. So, yes. So, sorry for that. Yeah, it is true. 6 pillars of Islam or 6 pillars of faith. So sometimes some of you may confuse 6 pillars of faith with articles of faith. So remember, ladies and gentlemen, 6 pillars of Islam or 6 pillars of faith, they are the belief systems, and articles of faith, they are the articles of principles or just the principles. So we have 6, and I think that's why some of you are confused. So the first one, the concept of God. The fact that all Muslims cannot see God. So how do you actually manifest? How do you show that you understand or you accept God? Next, angels, the concept of angels or malaikat. And then revelations, prophets and sunnah. Now sunnah, the daily routines of the prophets. For example, eating with your fingers and all those. Resurrection and judgments. That's number 5 for the articles of faith. And last but not least, divine will. So if you look very carefully at the articles of faith, which are the principles, and the 6 pillars of Islam or 6 pillars of faith, which are the belief system, some of them look very similar in terms of the sequence. Now, if you look at the, for example, the belief in Qada and Qadar, the belief system, the belief in Qada and Qadar is you have to understand and accept the fact that some of whatever that you have in your life is actually given and determined. You cannot change this, and some you can change. So the fact that some that you can change is where you have to understand the divine will. For example, Allah has actually given you your family. This is your father and this is your mother. You cannot change that. And the fact that you understand this is something that God has given you, and understand that this is the divine power of Allah, then that's where articles of faith actually give you that. So the concept of God, angels, revelations, prophets and sunnah, resurrection and judgments, and last but not least, divine will. All right. Values in Islam. We have 6 altogether. So we have number 1, actions are judged by intentions. Number 2, God is pure and does not accept anything that is not pure. Number 3, ignore what does not concern your life. Number 4, cannot become a complete person or a complete believer when you do not love your brother as much as how you love yourself. Okay, so that's number 4. Number 5, one should not harm himself or others. And last but not least, you must not be concerned with what others have. Do not focus on worldly gains. So basically, just be happy with whatever that you have. Do not compare what you have and what you do not have with other people. So that's number 6. And all these values, they come from the teaching of the Prophet Muhammad. Okay? And if you talk about Islam, last but not least, we talk about the mazhabs. So we have 4 mazhab. Mazhabs are schools of thoughts on laws. How this mazhab see or define something would be different depending on the schools of thoughts on laws, on the rules and regulations. So we have 4, as I've mentioned. The first one, Hanafi, originated from Iraq, and the law is basically based on Al-Quran, Hadith, Ijma and Qiyas. Ijma, discussion. Qiyas, something that is related to whatever that they do every day, right? So that's Hanafi. Second is Maliki. Maliki originated from Madinah, and those under this mazhab, they normally use hadith that are gathered and studied and analyzed, and then they come with the law of action. The third one is Shafi'i. Now Malaysia, as most of the countries in our region, we follow Shafi'i. We follow Shafi'i. Originated from Egypt, and for Shafi'i, we use Al-Quran, Sunnah, Ijma and Ray. I'm not sure how to pronounce this. R-A apostrophe Y. Yeah. And last but not least, Hanbali. Hanbali originated from Iraq. So Imam Hanbali, this mazhab from Iraq, they follow mostly Shafi'i, but they actually give greater emphasis on hadith without neglecting reasoning. So if let's say they follow Al-Quran, Sunnah, Ijma and Ray, but then they give more emphasis on hadith. But even so, they do not neglect reasoning, something that comes with reason. Something happened because of something, so they do not neglect that, although it is from hadith. Yeah. So that is that, ladies and gentlemen. So if we look very carefully, let's talk about, or let's recap on what can be explained randomly and what must be explained in order or in sequence. For Hinduism, the belief system must be explained in sequence. The rest you can explain at random, but some of them, the way that they are arranged is because of their importance, but still, especially for principles and values, of course they are arranged based on the importance, but they can be explained at random. Unlike belief system, must be explained in order. Atman, Dharma, Karma, Moksha. And then for Buddhism, belief systems and values must be explained in order or in sequence. For the Jewish people, or for Judaism, basically they are once again they are arranged based on importance. So I do believe that if it is possible, then you have to explain according to this. Number 1 must be first until number 13, and the values can be explained at random. And for Christianity, what can be explained at random? Just the history. For the principles and values, they must be explained in order or in the sequence that they are presented. And last but not least, for Islam, Belief systems, the two sets, 5 pillars of Islam and 6 pillars of Islam or 6 pillars of faith, they must be explained in order. The same thing goes to the principles, the articles of faith. They must also be explained in order. For the values, once again, they are explained according to the importance. So if possible, try to explain according to this arrangement. Especially actions are judged by the intentions. That's always the first thing when you talk about what you want to do in your life. So it's always actions are judged by your intention. Now, if you look very carefully at all this, you can see a lot of similarities, especially in terms of the principles as well as the values. So, for example, if you look very carefully at these Buddhism principles, do not lie, do not kill, do not steal, do not drink alcohol, do not engage in irresponsible sexual activities or misconducts, you can have a look here at these 10 commandments. So you have, you shall not kill, you shall not commit adultery, etc., etc. So we have similarities, the principles and the principles. So let's see what else. Okay, what else? Okay, here we have the where for the history, Hinduism as well as Buddhism, and then we have Judaism as well as Christianity. So we have that. What else? Let's see. If you look at the principles, across these 5 major religions, for Hinduism, for example, so we have this truth is eternal, the importance of truth, so being taught here. And then if you look at Judaism, there's a lot in terms of God. We have from 1 until 6. And then if you look at the principles for Christianity, again 1 until 3, talking about God. And of course, for Islam, we have the concept of God as number 1. So if you look across the board, you can see that, except for Buddhism, the importance of God, yeah, and as well as the importance of the book, the sacred book, if you look at this very carefully. And I guess, as I said earlier, I'm going to share this Padlet in terms of the PDF form or format, so you'll be able to see better. All right, you'll be able to see better. So here, this one is supposed to be here. Okay. So, all right. As usual, if you have any questions, if you're not sure of anything, please do not shy away. It's very important for you, even though at this, at the end of our semester, you must be able to say, or you must tell me if you do not understand. I'm very happy to help, especially this is your last semester on campus. So if, let's say, you are confused or you are not sure of anything, please ask. Take your time to go through this about an hour revision Padlet session or slide, and come back, ask me if you're not sure of anything. As usual, you can email, you can WhatsApp me personally, you can WhatsApp in our WhatsApp group, or you can simply ask when we meet again in our next session. So with that, ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Assalamualaikum and greetings once again to all, and that's all for now. Bye.